Good evening. Welcome to the Irish column for Sunday, the 25th of August 2024. I'm Paul Simons. Just a few things to talk about this evening. Anthony was supposed to come on, but he's not able to come on tonight, so I'm waiting to see who's going to come on. There's a couple going to come on with me later on, and we'll have a chat. There'll be a bit of a panel. So, yeah, so it's been eventful, I have to say. We had our Ardèche yesterday. Went very well, I have to say. There's a few things I wanted to talk about that as well, you know. So, I'm just going to bring Orla up with me here now. Orla's come in there. Hello, Orla. Hello. How are you?
Oh, it's just been so long.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm not the better of it, to be honest with you. I'm not the better of it. I'm dying today. I'm hanging like...
been?
Oh, stop, man. Yeah, I was really... If you look at my eyes, they're bleeding all over the shop. But, yeah. But it was good crack, now, I have to say.
Crying when you realised the bar was closed.
Oh, man. Jesus Christ. I was sick. Like, you know what I mean? Really. What time is it? I didn't even realise what... I had no concept of the time. That's how mental it went, like, you know what I mean? But it was a great night, I have to say. It really was.
I know, it was brilliant. It was brilliant, you know, and... you know, as I said, we're such a good team and we all get on so well. Like, it's you know, it's great to see it, like, you know.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I have to say. I was just looking there. I had my pictures there. Did you send me pictures? I think you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, I have the Irish Freedom Party there. Just let me have a look. Ah, there's a big one there. Look at that. That's a beaut, that one. Hang on there, and I just share that. Yeah. Share screen. Yeah, there we are. That's a good one there now, I have to say. That's us all. Yeah, that's a good picture now, isn't it? That's, yeah. But that was us all there. That was nearly all the candidates and what have you there for thing. And the frog Meister messing again last night. He was we got back to the house and we were gargling away the whole lot, and we seen the tweets coming in from Dermot and what have you, and somebody posted something about me, and he gave us that phone and he started messing. I didn't know he sent a tweet. I didn't realize he had sent it until this morning, until I got up, and I said, "What the fuck is a holiday? What's all of this shit, like, you know?" And then I tweaked it. I said, "No way, man! For Jesus' sake, stop!" You know what I mean? I didn't think he had actually sent it. You know, that sort of way. I thought he was only winding me up. But you could see, like, there was loads of coursing in it, and you know, shit that I don't do. You know what I mean? I know I course, but I don't course on Twitter. You know what I mean?
I know.
But yeah, just so it's been an eventful day, I have to say. You know what I mean? Running around and doing what we had to do. Yeah, but I wanted to just go with a video, right, Orla? This is Mosney, right? And it was put up the other day, I think, by the Git or somebody like that. But this girl is moaning that it's like a prison. Right, now wait and you see this.
Okay. You know, this is a prison, man. Even in prison, people don't get this punishment. You know, this is a prison, man. 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 This is a prison, man. You know, this is a prison, man. You know, this is a prison, man.
Wow. After there's how are you, Martin? How's things? Did you
Hey
watch
guys,
that
how are we
there?
doing?
This is a
Yeah, I saw
prison.
it.
Have you seen it there with a post office, a social welfare office, halal meat? Come on, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ. There's a few coming in the comments there. Just hang on there for a sec. What's the story with you and Kevin Coyle? This is what I was just talking about a second ago. With someone sent the fucking thing. I didn't send it, but hey, listen, we'll sort it. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? We'll sort it. Don't worry. But hello from Cork. Yeah, and if that's a prison, give me 5 years. Oh yeah, I have to say, like, it's crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Changed since our day.
The witch.
Mosney has changed since our day.
Oh man, Mosney is the bomb now, isn't it? Jeez, I'd move in there myself. You know what I mean? But you don't have to leave it. This is a prison. But they can leave whenever they want, like, you know what I mean? And do you know what? I was down there a while ago, and the amount of taxis down there is off the charts, like, you know what I mean? It really is, you know what I mean? And the same in the iPass Centre in at the top of the N32 there off the M50, the Holiday Inn. That's the same. I drove in there and I done a video, and I must have seen 12, 15 taxis parked in the car park. So they're all getting their taxis paid for. They're all going out driving, getting the money from that, obviously. They're not paying for room. They're not paying for board. They're not paying for food or electricity. And the poor old taxi men are out there breaking their arse, like, you know what I mean? With mortgages and everything. And these lads are just, well, it just beggars belief, like, you know?
Oh, it's just madness. But do you know what it is? It's the ungratefulness that would annoy people. Do you know, it's just shocking. And then our own Irish are, like, you know, living on the streets. It's just disgraceful.
Yeah, you could get hundreds in there, you know what I mean? Hundreds of Irish people in there, you know? And as the doctor was saying yesterday, that was at the what you call it? The Ardèche, yeah. He was talking about the migrants.
We were there yet with the Irish Freedom Party, just in case you've forgotten.
No, I remember where I was, all right. I do remember where I was. I don't remember the end of the night now, but I remember where I was, you know what I mean? Jesus, I went mad, didn't I? But I didn't know. The bar's closed. What? I didn't even realise what time it was.
He was nearly in tears. That's why he's all, you know, red-eyed.
Oh, I banged my head as well. Look at my bleeding head. Look. Yeah.
I'm glad I was very well behaved.
Yeah.
You were. Yeah. Martin. Are you visiting like the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit?
Yeah, that's where he is. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a good one. Oh, I'm loving it.
That's what he's been off today.
Yeah.
Say thank you, Grok, and thank you, Elon Musk.
Yeah. Looks good. Looks very good.
That's going to be the backdrop for my show when I start it.
Deadly.
Oh yeah, yes.
Deadly, yeah, deadly. Happy days. But the holiday camp there, as we were talking about Mosney, like, you know what I mean? It's how many?
That's still direct provision.
Direct provision, yeah, that's what that is, yeah.
So it's a different system. Look, everybody knows that's been a flawed system since its inception. those direct provision centres, the way people were brought in, and the fact that they're still living in those conditions and that they can't work, and you know what I mean. The state has known about direct provision as a failure for 20 years and decided to do nothing with it. Those people are stuck in limbo. The question you're asking now is, are they here so long that it actually becomes unfair or unreasonable to ask them to leave, or do you try and integrate them into society? Because no more than the current IPAS system, direct provision was cruelty to humans. There's no other way to describe it. It was a ridiculous system. And again, we had legal framework at the time not to have direct provision. We had legislation in place at the time that could have said, no, if you come here illegally, you get deported straight away, or you get imprisoned and a fine. And again, successive governments just failed to deal with this problem. You know, just keep kicking the can down the road to create more and more and more problems. I can actually see when they try to end direct provision, I can see massive NGO funded court cases against the state. So that's more than likely the future for these systems.
Exactly,
but then what is being promised as well? Like, how do we know that these people haven't been promised housing?
They're there in a few years. You know, they're there in a few years.
They'll eventually have to go somewhere. Where are they going to go?
Yeah.
Well, they can't live the rest of their lives, you know, in Mosney or any of the other IPAS centres.
You'd imagine.
Are they going to go into housing?
You'd imagine citizenship or citizenship through naturalization, and then they just move from direct provision onto whatever Irish systems are there, housing systems or social welfare systems.
Council.
You'd imagine that's the future. But look again. This was known about 20 years ago. This was the successful governments just kind of went, well, it's not that big a problem. We won't deal with it. We'll just ignore it, and hopefully nobody will notice that there's masses of people living on, you know, that can't fend for themselves, or sorry, that we're not allowing fend for themselves. We're going to give them a roof over the head. We're going to give them meals, but we're not going to let them do anything else, if you know what I mean. So it's
how long do they have to before they can walk? Is it 18 months or 6 months or whatever? I don't know.
I saw paperwork with 6 months, but whether that's, you know, every, you know, IPAS centre, I don't know, but I definitely saw it in Carlow, 6 months.
Mm.
And I made the point, I said, and I don't mean to be sexist here, but I just kind of said, how do men hang around, you know, for 6 months without working? I mean, what are they going to do? They're not going to sit, you know, inside watching Ireland AM and drinking tea all day. They won't, you know what I mean? They're going to get fed up very quickly. And it's not fair, do you know?
Well, I think we got an excellent lesson yesterday from our colleague that gave the presentation on the legality of everything that's happening, and it kind of opened our eyes massively to. And I thought the explanation of language was very good in relation to what is a refugee, what is an asylum seeker, and what is a migrant, and explaining it in terms that basically everybody who's come into this country and is in this country at the minute is here by UN law and EU law illegally, and the government are actually so we take all other aspects out of it. Take your left, take your right, take your you know, we have moral obligations, blah blah blah. Take every political line out of it. The reality is that our government are breaking laws and brushing it under the carpet. So every single person who comes into this country without paperwork and claims asylum is here illegally by UN law and by EU law, and I think that's something we really need to share with people. It'd be great if we could actually get our hands on some of those slides, and at some point, and just give the basic definitions.
Same there.
Hey, I saw you with the camera taking pictures. Yeah.
So this is what we were told yesterday. Okay, this is the refugee is the 1951 Refugee Convention defines a refugee as a person who, owing to well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, explain citizenship, membership of a particular social group or political opinion, is outside the country of their nationality and is unable or owing to such fear is unwilling to avail of protection of that country. Now, these guys that's coming in here are not, they're not fleeing anything. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. And there's the asylum seeker. An asylum seeker is someone who is seeking international protection from dangers in their home country, but whose claim for refugee status hasn't been determined legally. Asylum seekers must apply for protection in the country of destination, meaning they must arrive at or cross a border in order to apply. No international law, human rights law, or refugee law mention about asylum seekers. You know, so they're spinning us a yarn, you know what I mean? And you heard him talking yesterday about the Dublin III Treaty. Like, we had that in place. We could have just sent them people back. We don't have to take these people at all. And the government are just telling lies about it. The government are just, do you think people are stupid? Well, I have to say, people are stupid if they're not wide to what's going on. You know what I mean?
So what it means is the government is completely and utterly incompetent and it doesn't understand this, or they're doing it on purpose. Now, I would lean towards they're doing it on purpose. Yeah. What we have to nail down is the why. You know what I mean? We could talk about lowering wages. We could talk about pensions. We could talk about population decline. But that, we need to get our hands on ministers in government on large platforms and ask them, why are you doing this? And just to see what their answer is. And if there's anybody even in the opposition who has access to mainstream media platforms, that's the question you should be asking. This is illegal. Why are you doing it? And just see what the answer is.
See, but that's it. They won't have it.
I like this about the screening regulations. Yeah.
The screening regulations. The screening regulation would set up uniform requirements and procedures for the pre-entry screening of certain third-party country nationals at the external borders of the EU member states, and persons apprehended on EU territory would have escaped external border controls, background checks. So that's what he was saying yesterday. There's no background checks on these. If they're not already within Europe, they don't know anything about these people. You know, they're coming in from Sudan and Chad and whatever. Georgia probably be all right, but like all the African countries, you know what I mean? Congo and everything, like they're not being screened, you know what I mean? The persons undergoing the screening process would have to remain at the disposal of the authorities at the screening location outside of a member state in question and may be placed in detention, not given a bleeding tent and put out on the streets, you know what I mean? The screening will include identification, health and security checks, fingerprinting and registration in the Eurodac database. So that's the Eurodac one. It's not anything outside there. Wasn't that what he said? Is that what I got from that, wasn't it, yesterday?
So yeah, this is all part of the migration pact that the government signed without the people's consent. But yeah, even with signing up to the migration pact, the government are actually breaking the rules and regulations, the laws of the migration pact
of the actual pact. Yeah,
because these steps, he gave a great example of basically the only way you can come to Ireland to claim asylum. And technically you can't claim asylum because he was very clear on the language that an asylum seeker that's here is illegal, because if you have reached your destination where you're looking for refugee status, but you haven't actually been granted refugee status, you're illegal. You're illegal to be in the country. You must apply for refugee status outside of your destination country. But he made the point that from these countries outside the Eurozone, there's no direct flight to Ireland. There's no way to come to Ireland without passing through a number of other countries. And he gave the example of Italy to France. France quite happy to send them on to the UK, and then from the UK they come here. But they've passed through so many zones. They legally now cannot be granted refugee status in Ireland because they've broke the rules by leaving Italy, because Italy would have been their first port of call. It's not massively complex, but the thing of it is basically if you want to be granted refugee status, you must claim as an asylum seeker, but outside of the country you're seeking that refugee status. So anybody who has come here without documents and has been given a tent or put in dive accommodation, by EU law, they are here illegally. and the government, and sorry, by Irish law, they're here illegally as well, because in 2004 Act, you can't
They're
provide
illegal,
without documentation. Yeah. So he suggested taking that the Irish judiciary is compromised, that this will need to go before the EU and UN legal. The word has gone from now, judiciary, but the courts, the Court of International Human Rights, and there's significant cost involved in that. But with the people movement, we could raise the money to do it, and it would be very, very good to again shine the international spotlight on what's happening in Ireland. So it is something we definitely need to look into in relation to raising those funds and hire an EU legal team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that doctor was very good, and we have it filmed, so we should be able to put it up on our pages in the next couple of days.
I have to say, he was
people will be
brilliant.
able to watch it. He was excellent, yeah. And he made an awful lot of valid points and everything like that. So it'd be very good for people to watch it.
You were just talking about Italy there, Martin. Have a look at this. That was Lampedusa yesterday. It's disgraceful, isn't it?
That was yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yesterday in Lampedusa.
How many people? There was a video. There was a video circulating a few months back. It might have been a year back, where they filmed the thousands had come in over a week-long period, and it actually looked like a Rwanda camp, or a camp from a war zone in Africa. Look, it's unsustainable. And you see, what's happening is they're landing in Italy, and Italy are quite happy to let them pass through Italy, because if they're not staying in Italy, they're not a problem. You know what I mean? So exactly, the Italian authorities will help them get as quickly through Italy as possible, and then they go to France. And as we learned yesterday, the main destination is the UK, and he said it's more than likely to learn English. But as soon as they get to the UK, then it's straight over to Ireland. So a lot of the people that we're getting have been in this system for quite some time. It might have been 6 years ago or 9 years ago that they left their country of origin. And, it normally takes a year or two to actually pass through all the systems to get to the boats in France. And then again, the French are delighted to, there's a massive economy. Actually, somebody needs to do a really in-depth story on the economy of people trafficking on the French ports over to the UK, because it's, when you dig into it, it's amazing. It's amazing. The authorities turn a blind eye to it, and criminal enterprises working in tandem with companies and legal companies are quite happy to ship them over to the UK. The UK system is only happy to take them, especially under a communist government now, under Keir Starmer, whatever his name is. I think I'm saying his name backwards someday. They do a couple of years in the UK, and then find out that the honey is sweeter over in Ireland, and over they come.
There's a message coming in there. Remember, there's no relation between migrants and crime.
Of course not.
Jellen McCanty said that. She said that. I remember her saying it. But it's just...
That video there now in Italy with them all there. I mean, is that a daily occurrence? A weekly occurrence? There was several hundred people there. So was that just one day, or that's shocking?
Friends.
There's a constant flow of people. That flow of people never ever stops. That is constant.
Right.
Yeah.
3 or 4 boats there.
That's the trickle down then is the 70 we get per day. So there's a trickle down effect. So you get that hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds, into the thousands arriving there, and then in a year to a year and a half's time, you get a couple of hundred coming across from France into the UK, and then after that you get maybe another year's time or 6 months' time, you get 70 or 80 from the UK into Ireland. But that's daily. That is daily. Yeah. But the problem, so the population is a massive thing, and this is why we're in so much trouble, because we have a tiny population. People don't realize how small our country is in relation to population. Like London City is bigger than Ireland. population-wise,
Yes.
by a significant amount. We are a very, very, very small nation, which is why it's hurting us more, and we're seeing it more. The European nations, like I said, they will take on a certain amount of them, but they're quite happy to let an awful lot flow through their system to go to the next country. And Italy is quite easy to get into France. France is quite easy to get through. Then you get to water, so there's a problem at the English Channel and stuff like that. But that's now that's been facilitated for quite a number of years. So, like I said, if you get 1,000 arriving in Italy or one of the other southern Mediterranean European countries, that 1,000 will, in a few years' time, that's we get 10% of that, and that's on a daily basis. But the difference is England, huge population, France, huge population, Italy, huge population. We're only 5 million people. So it's much more noticeable. That 100 people that hit us is as a percentage much higher. And we don't have the facilities or infrastructure to deal with it. You know what I mean? Whereas France, Spain, Italy, England, just because of the nature of the bigger populations, they don't see it. 1,000 people hitting them isn't as destructive as 100 people hitting us.
Yeah.
But again, that again, the government said in the Dáil they wanted to increase the population to 10 million. Probably again pension related. So it could be by design that this is the easiest way to do it. And again, you get cheap labour markets. They're looking down the road, increase our population to 10 million. What are we going to do with them all? Well, we get them all doing menial tasks on minimum wage, and we lower everybody's living standard, and which is essentially communism. That's how communism works.
It's exactly what's happening, isn't it?
Would you love, like, just for that video there now in Italy, to be up on RT? Wouldn't you just love for that to happen?
No,
like, I know it's never going to happen, but wouldn't you just love it, to wake up the masses?
I know. But that girl posted there a minute ago that the crime is not anything to do with the migrants. So I'm just going to share this screen now. I'll just share this one now. You can see them there. There you go. This is last week. Woman dragged into park and told she would be killed during early morning sex attack in Dublin. Marius Lakatos, 32, was granted bail. He was granted bail now for doing that. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Then you have the Afghan fella who stabbed that girl to death in Cork. Do you remember that? Gail Ibrahim? And then you have another asylum seeker accused of biting a woman during predatory attack in Dublin. Al Hindawi, 22, believed to be from Syria. Then we have another asylum seeker who, days after arriving in the country, sexually assaulted a young woman in Dublin city centre after following her up for up to half an hour as she tried to get away from him, has been jailed for 2 years. Adele Carey, good Dublin name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And down, of course, we have Joseph Palani. And we all know what he did. There
was only the attack there the only a couple of days ago. Dublin Live, we had it up.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but
do you remember the picture of the man and he had his trousers down?
Oh, not here, I think, have we? But here's another guy here on the right there. A man who had been living in Ireland under fake name, arrested over triple murder. This guy had killed his ex-wife or his wife or sister and somebody else, and he was here, and they were told he was here. Like, it was brought to their attention he was in City West, or not City West, the Red Cow, and when they went looking for him, he was gone. You know what I mean? But he was arrested then after. I think he was whereabouts was. Oh, I don't know where he went back to, but he was sent back to his thing to do the triple murder. There's another Irish passport. Here's the nursing home rapist came in illegally. Look, it's, and migrants and crime just, it goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? It really does, There's more. Man 50 charged with attempted murder. That's Parnell Street. That was last year. Syrian refugee for 3 years for deplorable rape of defenseless woman. There's another one. Man who claimed to be fighting for ISIS when he stabbed a Japanese man to death. Like, all refugees. They're all migrants, like, you know what I mean? So it just beggars belief, man. I swear to God, how people are not seeing this, you know what I mean? Well, they're not seeing it because RTE are not showing them it. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Elon Musk and us and, nobody would see anything. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I just sent that on to you there, Paul.
What did you send on to me? Check now. Go on, yeah. I'm getting the usual ones in here now, you know what I mean? The IFP, shit, and IFP, that. And
yeah, I see. I see the guys, Jim K 140. I think I actually spoke to him on a platform, and Hugh Jassol. Yeah, well, I'm going to answer him now if he's listening. You watch the show all the time. I'd suggest changing your Twitter handle, and somebody might interact with you.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's the usual show. You get it every week from the same people.
What I'd say to them is, sorry, Paul. What I'd say to them is the people in the comments, because they watch the show all the time. Is come on the show, and if you don't agree with us, have a debate. And that's what I'd say. I'll be starting to do a new podcast shortly as well, and I'll be inviting every single person like that onto the show from the left, from the center, from the right, to actually have a conversation and a debate about any single point. It's easy to fire comments in. If you get an invite, accept it. Come on, show your face, show your real name, and have a debate. And I offer it all the time, and I get very, very few responses because I don't hide anything. So it's a case of these keyboard warriors, as I call them, and I call them that. Put your money where your mouth is. If you want to get into this game, show your face, show your name. Come on, debate, argue your points, civilly and politely, and get involved.
Yeah, just something to say. Instead of talking shit, like, you know what I mean, and throwing stuff there, you know what I mean. I don't mind. You can come on, and people come on here and talk if they want, but they won't come on because you'll be asking them questions and you'll be calling them out on things. You know what I mean, on the bullshit that they're talking. And. It's ridiculous. Which IFP candidates are running for the general election? I am Paul Fitzsimons, Fitzy Dublin Bay North. That's me. Yeah. That's where I'm running. And how many have we got running? 6 or 7, is it?
Five confirmed so far.
6 now with me. So I think it's 6 with me. But there's still others there that's going through the vetting process and everything else. So. Yeah. But I'm Dublin Bay North, Fitzy. Your only man, And I get texts. I'm getting texts off people.
Where are you running again? I didn't get it.
Fitzy Dublin Bay North. Get in there.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't exactly sure.
No, that's where I am. You know what I mean? That's it. End of story. But I'm getting texts off people. Oh, you're splitting the vote now. You're running where I'm running. So what? You know what I mean? But like, what? What do you want me to do? Oh, we won't run there because somebody's running there. Like Mick Bourke is running there. Who else is running there? I think Kevin Coyle said he was going to run there as well. That's who texted me about it, saying, "Oh, you're running, blah blah." Like, I told these people months ago that's where I was thinking of running. You know what I mean? So I don't really care. You know what I mean? But remember, Fitzy Dublin Bay North.
That's the joy of democracy. That's the whole point. Yeah. Anybody can put their name forward. Anybody can enter into politics. It's like, look, if you want to battle the machine, you need huge funding. But again, somebody made a point yesterday. It was a case of, if you want to just become a TD and get elected and just live the life, it's ego and it's great, you're a TD and you get a big pension, you get loads of money. He just said, join Fianna Fáil, join Fine Gael, join one of the smaller parties. And if you want to make a difference to this country, you do what we're doing, or with any other nationalist organization, because we have no money, we have no funding, we have nothing. We just basically have a belief that our country is going down the shitter, essentially. And if we don't change the direction and change the politics and change the personalities that are in Dáil Éireann, because a lot of people don't realize your TDs, like it's essentially a popularity contest. That's what elections are, and you can see how it's changing now, because Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are both looking at running B-lister TV celebrities. Well, they've done it already with Nina Carberry and Maria Walsh. They're running faces. They're running faces as opposed to politicians or people who have a background that would say transfers over to a political life, because they realize that people don't read about politics, or they don't like politics, or they don't care, but they'll see a face they know and go, oh yeah, I'll vote for them. But all you're voting for is another yes man to the system. Because if you is it Grania Shoiga? Which one of the Shoigas is?
Yeah,
is
Grania.
So that's
not silly Shoga, Grania Shoga.
Yeah. So, but it's a person with no political background. It's a minor celebrity face that they're going to stick up on a poster. But if you sit this person down for debate, and it happened with Neely Carberry during the MEPs, she was actually asked a question and just could not answer it. And actually, the media facilitated then her to, let's just go back to talking about horse racing. Look, I suppose if the general public want that to be the representation, then you deserve everything you get. If you want people who would say have an understanding of how the system works, and understanding of politics, and understanding of how policies affect different demographics, and how policies affect the majority versus the minority, and the juggling you have to do and things like that, then people need to elect people who actually care. Like, we're not in it for money, glory, fame, or anything like that. I'm personally doing this because my kids have no future in this country. They don't have any future, and we've allowed a system. We've allowed a system to be created for the first generation in history. I might have said this before. We're handing over a worse country. So since 1916 or 1921, every generation has had it better than their parents, whether it be, the introduction to, we'd say, running water into houses, electricity into houses, and so on and so forth. And, then the family car came on, and every generation had it a little bit better. This is the first generation in the history of the state that that our kids basically are getting handed a fucking steaming pile of shit. And excuse me for cursing. I don't normally, but sometimes they slip out. But it's important that people understand that there's two different types of politicians in this country at present. There are people who genuinely care, and there are some in the major parties that are actually good people and they do care. But they either get silenced or kicked out, one or the other. That's normally what happens. And you've got a good few independents that genuinely care. But outside of that, everybody at the top table in Irish politics, they're all privately educated. The majority of them came from wealth. The private education is a massive one because they've never touched the filth of life, and that is so important. You know what I mean? They've never been poor. They've never had to decide between fuel or food. You know what I mean? They've never got the letters in the door with the red print on them saying the tree has been cut off. You know what I mean? Yeah. They've never experienced that life. So how in God's name can they make policy for people like me and people in all the other socioeconomic classes when they only know the very top one? So like I said, we're not polished, we're not media trained, we're not you know what I mean, suited and booted, and we don't have a big massive machine behind us, and sometimes we come across as a little bit gruff and a little bit this, but we're real people. We're real people who've actually touched real life and struggled with things, and we know what the problems are. We also have solutions to fix them. You know what I mean? That aren't going to be unpopular. They're actually really good policies. So to actually encourage people, anybody watching that hasn't, go onto the Irish Freedom Party website and have a look at the policies and the principles of the party, because again, unfair media and government work in lockstep. But look at the policies, read them. You'll actually see that it's all common sense stuff. It's really common sense stuff. Like I said, the media just like to keep us down. Actually, did anybody see Simon Harris's Bail na Blah speech?
No.
Wow.
No interest.
If that's I would suggest that you watch it at some point. The leader of the country basically spent where he should have been commemorating one of our greatest men ever in the history of our state, but he should have been commemorating what he did and what he fought for. He basically used to bash the imaginary far right. It was
yes, I heard about it. I heard he was supposed to do that. Yeah, and I did. That's why I didn't watch it, because it was going to make me very angry.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony.
So there's who we have there. That's the candidates: Glenmore, Dublin Midwest 2, John Oakes, Dublin Fingal West, Barry Ward, Dublin South Central, Herman Kelly, Louth, Anthony Casey, Kildare South, and Doran McMahon in Galway, and Paul Fitzy, Dublin Bay North. I'm running in Dublin Bay North.
Hey, maybe Anthony knows something you don't.
No, he just put up there. Look, and Paul. So,
but look, we'll have more candidates. There'll be more candidates to come yet.
Yeah, I think there will. Yeah, I think there'll be a few more. What's
and
this?
The big important thing, the big difference, and I know I said this a couple of weeks ago, is that between us and them is we are not ruled by money and we're not ruled by power. And there is your big difference.
But this is what they'll tell you we are. You know what I mean? That we're getting funded and we're Farage's puppets. And
where? That is the monopoly money. I've never seen it.
And they send you pictures of Herman with Farage. It's very hard not to get a picture with your fucking employer. Let's be honest, lads. You know what I mean? He worked for him for 10 years. What do you want? Like,
my favorite, the best response to the Sinn bots doing that is I've actually compiled a massive folder of all the Sinn Féin scandals, and I just start with Mary Lou and Michelle O'Neill with the King, and just go from there, and then just start firing out the like. It's easy to find. You can like Sinn Féin are the one party that are not in a position to throw any stones in anyone's direction, and they really should. They should stop, because all they're doing is losing more and more support now. We're happy to take the support they're losing, but the money behind their bot farms is actually look, they're the wealthiest party out there. But the money they put into trying to hurt us online it's absolutely hilarious. But like I said, people can see through it. People see straight through it, and they go very, very, very quiet when I start pulling the financial stuff. Like a lot of people know about their links to terrorism, but a lot of people don't know about their funding. And there's some very, very interesting stories and some very interesting people out there that don't live in this country. So, like I said, just you want to quieten the Sinn bots down. I'll forward you on all the data I have in my folder.
Right, I think this here. It's only a minute long, is it? Until all these people stop watching RTE. All right, let's just. I think I have it here. It's an RTE one that I have, but I'll just play it. We'll present it just to have a look. Is it this one here now? Hang on.
Times. In a wide-ranging speech, he dealt with the legacy of Michael Collins, Ireland's
Can you hear that?
world, and in particular to democracy.
We unite in defiance of those who try to silence elected politicians, who try to thwart the will of the people by violence, threat, or intimidation.
And he addressed the growth of the far right and said Ireland must stand together in defiance of the attempts to divide and distort.
There are some who wave a tricolour, our flag, our tricolour, and claim patriotism, while betraying every founding principle that this country stands for: freedom, equality, and opportunity. It's up to each of us, and especially those of us in leadership positions, to be the solution we seek. So please, call it, use your voice, and don't just whisper it. Call out racism, call out hate, call out ugliness every time you see it.
Crazy, isn't it? Like,
dear God, he is an utter disgrace.
He's a horrible man, isn't he? He's just
he's absolutely, he's an utter disgrace. He should be ashamed of himself.
I think I said it to you last night. He reminds me of, do you remember years ago you'd be in school and there'd be a kid who was always sick?
Yeah.
That's exactly who he is. He's that kid that was always sick.
He looks like 102 years old.
Yeah. He's only in his 40s, isn't he?
No, I think he's younger than that. I think he's only late 30s or something like that.
I don't
Yeah,
think
he's definitely
anyway.
He's definitely aged over the last couple of months. But look, forget about his appearance and him being a weak man. It's just when you're the leader of a country and you have a platform like that, it should be just about. Basically, what happened there is right. Fine Gael are in election mode, right? And I've seen the Tipperary councillors, people who are running out canvassing already. And I was at a a show today, and Fine Gael had a tent set up there. That they're in full election mode. He was in election mode there. He was there supposed to be commemorating one of the greatest heroes that the country ever had. And again, it's funny that what he was talking about, because Michael Collins was guilty of everything that he was talking about there, because Michael Collins was a resistance fighter fighting against an empire that was crushing, or had been crushing the country for hundreds of years before. And all of Michael Collins's qualities, he's basically calling out as being bad. That opportunity should have been just to commemorate the memory of the man and what he did for the country. But he decided to turn it into a political tool to hammer the people who are trying to stand up for this country. And it's like, this falls into the same category as Micheál Martin said in 2019 in the Dáil, that we want nothing to do with the backward-looking idea of sovereignty, and I'll never forget it, and I will never forgive it. I will never forgive that man for that. What Harris has done here today, it falls in the same category. I will never forgive that man for disrespecting the memory of, and it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on. Mike Collins was a hero of our country. You know what I mean? He with about 15 other men pretty much brought the British Empire to the negotiation table. That's the reality of what he did. He forced an empire to come to a negotiation table, and to use it as a political tool is disgusting. It's a disgusting human does that. He didn't have a reason to do it other than he's in political mode, and he wanted to hammer his opposition with lies. It is all just lies. But so I know that is the same as Micheál Martin talking about our sovereignty in the Dáil. That I will never forgive that man for doing that on that day and in that location.
Yeah, he's 37.
Yeah, I said I knew he was in a state.
He has a head on him more out 6 bleeding bodies. You just look at the state of him, like Jesus, man. And he's just a horrible person.
Paul, this is what happens when you've sold your soul.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Jesus Christ, man, it's just ridiculous. Like, I wanted to, hang on. Okay, I got to jump to America just for a minute. And we just, Trump and RFK. This is just a thing from Fox News or whatever. So I'm just going to play this.
Well, now to Decision 2024, a busy day here in the Valley as far as politics go. Former President Donald Trump speaking in Glendale following his trip to the border yesterday. Meanwhile, independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. making headlines of his own today. It all came full circle this afternoon at Desert Diamond Arena, where thousands showed up to support the former president.
And tonight, 12 News journalist Sean Rice gives us a recap of the day inside and outside that arena.
Let's go, Trump, baby! Yeah!
Spirits were high, even as the lines were long to get a coveted seat inside Donald Trump's Glendale rally.
I actually think he cares about the American people, and I don't get the same feeling from the Democrats.
His policies are the ones that are important. It's not about the man, it's about his policies.
Despite the glee to see Trump, several supporters fell ill from standing in the heat all day long. One woman was carried away in an ambulance after she was treated by fire crews.
It's sad to see so many people passing out.
Inside the arena, Trump received a jolt to his campaign when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. withdrew from the presidential race and threw his support behind the former president.
That by staying on the ballot in the battleground states, I would likely hand the election over to the Democrats.
On stage, Trump promised to reinstate many of his previous policies.
Together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest costs, low inflation. And that's for everyone. We're talking about everyone. We want to make sure everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home.
And urged his supporters to re-elect him to a second term.
On November 5th, we will save our country. We will save our economy. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. We will put America first.
Sean Rice, 12 News.
It's great, isn't it? I have to say, it was brilliant.
Dream team.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
The dream team.
I like Robert F. Kennedy.
I said when, when DeSantis, because when they were having the primaries for the Republican nomination, I actually thought, you know, it was earlier on, I actually thought Ron DeSantis would have been the better politician to take the Republican, because he's a genuine politician. He'd done great work in Florida. And then you saw what was happening with the Democrats and in America, and you actually realized that actually no, kind of halfway through Ron DeSantis' campaign, you actually know Trump is required. He is required again to sort of pull the needle back. Trump and RFK are actually unbeatable, and the fact that RFK is going to still run in the blue states to ensure he takes maximum votes off another Harris. Lot of Harrises, isn't there, in our that are causing problems?
Yeah,
in the world.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's fantastic, and like Trump is building a really, really good team around him. He's got some really, really good people in there. Now, the question is, so the only way that Trump wins the election is they will have to have an armed militia at every polling station all across America. Because voter fraud has already been found out in 2 states in America. That's already gone to courts, but there's nothing they can do about it. So that's been proven without a doubt. There was Democratic electoral fraud in at least 2 states in America. So that they need armed militia at the polling station. So when the polls close, that nothing else is added, and the counts. You know what I mean? Some states just take longer to count. But that's the only way that he'll be democratically elected. If the Republicans leave it to the system without armed defense of the votes, then the same thing is going to happen. You're going to see these votes coming in after 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know that famous blue line where the Republicans were trending, and then all of a sudden the blue line just shoots up after 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what we do. But RFK will pull a lot of Democrats who are unhappy with the system. He'll pull them towards Trump. He's a great guy. He's done this. He's tried to be on the Democrat ticket. They won't let him. He's tried to go as an independent, and the Democrat ticket are trying to destroy him financially using lawfare. His own family, they're corrupt Democrats now. They're not the old Democrats of JFK. I've made a statement saying that essentially they're disowning him and he's a madman and all this kind of stuff. But he's not. He's a very, very, very intelligent man, and you could actually, if he's in Trump's cabinet, there's 2 massive roles you could give him. You could put him in charge of their FDA to tackle the pharmaceutical industry. I would prefer if they gave him the CIA.
I think it's the Attorney General they're giving him, isn't it?
Because is it Attorney General? Is it?
I think so. Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
I'd love him to get one of the alphabet agencies, because that CIA needs to be decimated. Look, that's why his uncle was shot. He wanted to.
They're extremely as well. And Robert F. Kennedy has done massive work for trying to help children that have been severely damaged from vaccines. He's under the Children's Health Defence, and he does incredible work. And he's always standing up for children who have been damaged. And it's not just vaccine; it's damage for people as well through other pharmaceutical routes and things like that. Just anything else that's been untowards. He's very, very vocal about all of that, and he has great information out there. In relation to chemical poisoning and stuff that's put into sprays and all that sort of stuff. Like he's well worth looking up, as in the Children's Health Defence.
Yeah, I'm just reading here. Adele is a friend of mine. She just posted in. Anyone not mentioning the vaccine genocide, which is the precursor to the plantation, is an absolute disgrace. Never mind these political degenerates we expected of them. Silence is complicit to crimes against humanity. This is selling your soul. No country will be won back until this is addressed. Now, I know Adele does the Hold the Lines and all that, and with Barry and the whole lot, and they talk a lot about vaccine injuries, and like these people, I think they used to be at Pfizer every Monday. I think they used to go there, you know what I mean? But they're trying to get it all out, you know what I mean? Like, as I said, me and Anthony we're actually doing a thing at the minute about vaccines, you know what I mean? But I think that's another show. I think we'll do a whole show about that. And if Adele, I can bring Adele on, or I can bring Barry on, or whoever wants to talk about it or whatever, and we'll do that. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be spoke about. You know what I mean? You can't not talk about it for. And I know nobody wants to keep talking about it, but you have to. It has to be kept in the public domain. You know,
It
that
has to
people
be addressed in some way, and it also has to be addressed that there is help out there for people who have been injured, and who is concerned about being injured. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
with Dr. Peter McCullough and his treatments, and Dr. Zev Zelenko, who sadly passed away, and that there is help out there. And we've spoken about this several times. Nobody knew what they were getting. There was a lot of placebos out there, But I know a lot of people who have been injured, and it is a real thing.
Yeah,
and those people
yeah.
deserve acknowledgement instead of everything been brushed under the table or denied, or it's all in their head, and it's not. People are like, it's absolutely shocking what's going on in the healthcare.
Well, I actually went to one of the marches there a few months ago, and I interviewed about 6 people. One man's wife died a week after getting the vaccine. Another man had lost his liver or something because of it, and he knows, they know that it was a vaccine. Now, I don't know whether there's a claim line or whatever, but I know in England, if you die, your spouse gets 120 grand. But I think they've only paid it to 3 people, that sort of way. There has to be some sort of a vaccine compensation brought in here now, and quick, you know what I mean? Because there is a lot of people, and there's a lot of people dying.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen. Because they've already set the framework for a COVID inquiry, and they've already agreed that it's not going to be finger pointing exercise. And when you say out loud it's not going to be finger pointing exercise, that translates into nobody's getting any money out of this. The reality of look at the swine flu injury cases. That was how many years ago? About 15 to 18 years ago, was it, or was it longer?
Yeah.
So those court cases are still going on. So and there have been some payments made out, but only quite recently. So it's a case of, even if there was a vaccine inquiry, it'll be dragged through the courts. It's like every inquiry in this country. We're a bit of a banana republic. Every tribunal we've ever had costs millions, drags on for fucking a decade, and in the end, it'll kind of go, oh, lessons were learned. That's the Irish approach, the Irish government approach to these problems. So I suppose I get angry when I think about the vaccine. I met 2 young gentlemen today. I play rugby with, they're quite a bit younger than me, and we talked about politics for a few minutes, and I'll tell you what they're doing. Actually, it's important. But I remember at the time when the vaccines were hitting out of 40 young, fit, healthy men, I was the oldest one there. I was the only person in that dressing room that didn't take the vaccine. And I was just kind of talking about it again, and they just said, "Yeah, look, we know you were right. We knew you were right then, but we wanted to go to the pub." And that's look, that is the reality. People were sold an absolute crock, and they were lied to, and they were propagandized. And you just had to be of a certain mindset to say no to it. You know what I mean? You had to be of a certain mindset, and you know what I mean. There's a large number of people who were of that mindset, because even the vaccination figures are true. There's an awful lot of more people who didn't take it than they ever let on. But in relation to there ever being a proper vaccine inquiry or compensation, I don't see that ever happening. I would support it 100% if it happened, and I would love to see people like Luke O'Neill and the people who pushed it on media. I'd like to see them do prison time for it. I'd like to see some officials. Yeah, I'd be quite happy with that. But in reality, would it ever happen? Like I said, you'd have a 10-year tribunal. It'd cost millions, billions, even not billions, but millions, and you'd end up with lessons were learned. That'd be the end of it. Just in relation to those 2 gentlemen I was talking about, they're both in their one's in his kind of mid to, well, he's probably 30ish. The other guy's kind of mid 20s. And I hadn't seen him a bit because I'm not involved with the club anymore. And I'm just saying, how you doing, lads? This, that, and the other. And we're both going to Australia after Christmas. I was like, well, why are you doing that? Because you both have jobs. No future. It's not that they don't have work. They have work, but they're both still living at home. 28 and roughly 24. And they just said, we can't get houses. We can't do it. We can't start our lives. We can't settle down and have a family. And I was just thinking, I was 23. I was 23. Married, house bought, and that was the norm. That was the bloody norm. Maybe I did start a little bit younger than most, but that was the norm. 23 to 28, you got married and you had your house, and they're just going to Australia. And the reality is there isn't much of a future. There's work. It's the same as it is here out in Australia. There is work. But futures are looking quite grim over there because they're talking about digital ID and mandatory vaccinations and stuff like that. The globalism is in full swing over there. But I suppose it's sunny, so you can it makes life a little bit easier. It's sad. I get upset when I talk about stuff like this because it's just sad. I know my own son is going to go as well in the next year or two. It's just and again, it's not that there isn't work. This isn't like the 80s or the 70s when there was no fucking jobs because everything shut down. There is work, and you can be in a well-paid job and you still have no future in this country. Yeah. And that's terrible. That's what we're handing to our kids. That you can have college, you can have education, you can have work, you can have everything, but you cannot build a house, you cannot start a life. And look, the reality is this affects population as well, because if you cannot start your life, and let's just say you have a girlfriend and stuff like that, and you're together, but you're both living in your parents' house, you're not going to have kids. No. You're just not going to have kids. And then next thing you know, you're 35, and getting kids is kind of, it's getting more of a bigger job and stuff like that. And there are vaccine-related fertility problems, so it seems. So like it's like just this stack that keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And you always just get back to the same thing, that there's forces there that just do not want us to exist and want us gone within the next 30 to 50 years. Through various things, through economics, through whatever harms the vaccines are doing, through a left-wing ideology which kind of discourages people from having families. It all just seems designed to eradicate a certain race off the planet. And like I said, you both know I'm facts-based, if you know what I mean. That's how my mind works. But I'm even when it comes out of my mouth, I'm still kind of going, that's kind of a conspiracy theory. But the facts are there. All of the information is there, and I'm stacking it up, and I'm going, it's starting to look more and more likely like this. It is actually what the long term goal is.
Just looking there, I know a man who got 5 jabs and had 5 bleeds in the brain according to the scan. Still denies the correlation. There is a lot of people that are denying it still. You know what I mean? But what another girl just wrote there as well. Doctors are still giving the jab. That's the thing. That's what pissing people off.
They get €60 per shot. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a serious amount of money when you add it up.
Yeah. There's 14,000 suing the UK government for vaccine injuries.
In every country, you have a reporting system. Over in America, it's called VAERS. It's vaccine acquired injury thing, is injury system or something like that.
Database, VAERS. I know it. Yeah. In the UK, it's the yellow card scheme, I think.
But every country has one, right? Even Ireland has one. But how many people have been injured? I know anyone that I know has never entered their information onto it. So they reckon that the VAERS reporting system, or any of the systems, that they're only something like 10% of what actual injuries is out there, because they're not being reported, because either people they don't want to do it, or they don't know about it, or they don't believe there's a correlation between the two, or whatever. But they reckon it's only 10%.
10%. But they reckon with the VAERS system, with the VAERS system in the US, they reckon that's only 1% of the actual. They reckon it's 10 times more than that. Like, you know what I mean? They reckon it's way higher. That people aren't.
10%, yeah, and it probably is correct, because the information has not been put out there, or people aren't putting 2 and 2 together, or it's been covered up, or whatever. Yeah. And like, the injuries over in America are absolutely. It's just horrendous. Some of the injuries.
What's this? She's saying, Paul, you have nothing to say about this poor woman. You're honest. You're an honest man. I don't know what he's talking about. Is that the guy who sent me in the thing about the woman being raped or something? Was it? Or
yeah, I saw a comment there, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either. If you can let us know what you're talking about there, and if I can find the video or whatever there, I will. But I'm just gonna.
But there is a lot. Like, over in Europe, there is a lot of people behind the scenes trying to get something done over these injuries. And then you have a lot of lawyers out there as well, like Dr. Rainer Fjolmich, who I think is a German lawyer, and he's absolutely phenomenal. And he's trying to bring about a Nuremberg too, which I think needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like, these people have to be held accountable. And it's not just, it's going to be the doctors, it's going to be the nurses, it's going to be the journalists. You know, they all need to be held accountable.
Yeah, they do. They really do. Right, we'll move on from that there, and do you know what I'm just going to go with here? Derek Bloy is at the post in the video here. Mick Barry.
So today,
Hang on. Just bear with me there. It seems Mick Barry, that the Watergrass Hill people were having a meeting about the referendum I think it's next Sunday, and they had a counter protest. Like, the people were just having a meeting. It's not as though it was a protest. They were having a meeting to discuss the actual thing. I'm just going to play it there now. I'll just present it, and yeah. Sorry, I got distracted there. My daughter just came in.
25th of August 2024, Watergrass Hill locals had arranged a meeting about an upcoming referendum that they've decided to hold to determine whether or not the village supports an unknown number of refugees being put into the Forestry Bar and Restaurant. Word had started to circulate that communist protesters loyal to Sinn Féin's Thomas Gould and Solidarity Socialist Mick Barry were to attend to protest so-called fireworks. My name had been thrown around the mix several times, so earlier today I put out a video confirming that I would not be attending, in the hopes that this would dissuade the communists from travelling in from Cork City and disturbing this locally arranged and locally attended public meeting. A video was sent to me after the meeting, and if I'm not mistaken, Mick Barry, the Socialist TD, is standing in the plaza in Watergrass Hill with the communist protesters, even after I confirmed that I would not be there. This says to me that Mick Barry and his band of rabid communists came to Watergrass Hill to intimidate the local people from expressing their personally held opinions. This is an absolute new blow for me. It's one thing for Mick Barry and Thomas Gould to send their goons out to protest me, but when the people of Watergrass Hill, who I may add do not attend protests or are not involved with any nationalist groups, but are simply locals concerned about a large influx of possibly illegal males coming into their community, cannot hold a simple public meeting to discuss these concerns without radical, far-left extremists coming out to intimidate them, truly is disgusting. And Mick Barry, a man who claims to respect democracy, is truly a disgusting excuse for a human being. I hope the people of Watergrass Hill and Cork North Central as a whole remember this the next time these men come knocking at your doors.
Hello, Herman. How are you?
Hi, Paul. Orla. Rugger Murphy. I see your Twitter handle, Rugger Murphy. I didn't know that. Didn't notice that before, Martin.
Oh, yeah, Rugger Murph 27. I've had that since 2013, I think.
Very good.
Reference to my rugby playing days.
It's like me and the Harley. The glory days are long past. Huh? You drive along in the car, looking at them in the mirror. Huh?
The boots are well and truly hung up at this stage.
Yeah. Very good.
So we were talking there about Derek there. He's just done that video there about Watergrass Hill that Mick Barry and your man was there, Gould. they're protesting the people of Watergrass Hill who are just having a meeting to talk about it beggars belief now how far they've gone with this far
Mick
right.
Barry, I believe, is he socialist Democrat or some kind of Labour Party socialist, isn't he?
Yeah, Social Democrat, I think. Yeah,
Social Democrat.
Socialist.
He's having a protest outside as there's a public meeting on.
Yes, him and Thomas Gould from Sinn Féin. Yeah. With their LGBT
I think Thomas Gould, is that the guy that I think I did a pretty humorous video once of him. I think he was speaking in Tipperary or something like that there, and I did a thing of him about having 13 pints and getting on the bacon sarnies and stuff, getting morning. Yeah. He's well fed guy. But isn't it disgraceful? Sinn Féin letting you pretend there for a while that they're moving over on immigration to respond to public concerns, and yet really they haven't changed one iota. They're still self-loathing left who want open-door immigration, and they will shout down and call names anybody who disagrees. All we are is concerned people, mainly parents, who are concerned about the safety and security of our streets, in which our children will kind of have to walk around in, and also a chance for ourselves and our children to get a job, to get a house, and to be safe where we live. That's all we're looking for. Nothing extraordinary. And Sinn Féin and the self-loathing left, they're all opposed to that. So I hope, at least, as Derek made mention thereof, at least they've exposed themselves a little bit more to the Irish public, which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, exposed their political views. Well,
I know what you meant.
Paul, there's a really good comment. There's a really good comment there from Hugh Jassol. Just put it up on the screen, will you?
The Ireland Forest one.
No, good. It's something about sphinxters. It's very Herman. You like this?
Hold on, where are we?
Back about 7 or 8. 10 past 10. It came in it on YouTube.
10 past 10.
Maybe the writer is he Egyptian? He's talking about the Egyptian Sphinx.
No, you like Herman. You like
it's with a C, not with an X.
The sphincter's tightening now as Herman enters the room.
What's
thank you.
I mentioned like you they really don't know us. Like they really don't know us and what we're like. I mean, the one thing you can say about Irish Freedom Party is we're definitely the party in the country with the best sense of humor. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. So I just thought
my dad jokes. No one beats my dad jokes.
No, not those. They're terrible, Herman.
So my kids keep on telling me.
I wrote a 17-page motion to get put into our constitution.
Shut down Herman Kelly's jokes.
Didn't get passed yet.
Yeah.
Just illegal assault.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you've talked about it already, but have you talked about Dardash yesterday?
We didn't say much about it, just how well it went, and we just showed a picture there, and we were talking about what the doctor. Yeah, we were talking about the doctor. He was very good. Now I have to say, Dr.
Mahari was absolutely excellent. I think it was the best, and I think probably most hard-hitting speech on the issue of immigration that I've heard in Ireland since I've started. And coming from a guy who himself is coloured from Eritrea, Irish wife, 4 Irish children, once again, a concerned parent. He's worried about his children growing up in Ireland, what opportunities they will have, and especially how safe they will be walking along our streets, because having large numbers of unvetted males, as we've seen there, where was that there during the week? Where was a picture of the guy with his little, I don't know, can I say schlong? With his little kind of chopper out.
Sent Paul.
Where was that?
Was it Dublin?
There was some guy trying to was assault a woman there in Dublin recently.
Well, that was
Paul. I sent you the picture there a few minutes ago.
Yeah, there was a picture with a guy with his pants down, standing there.
Oh yeah, I think I have.
Yeah, she put it much more poetically, Martin.
I actually have a video there from Michael Brazel that has it in it, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to play the video.
Okay.
Right, we'll go with the video from the. Where do we get?
It's been a busy week in Ireland, especially when it comes to sexual assaults. Woman beaten by a man who tried to sexually assault her on way to AC/DC concert. This news is from Dublin, where Justice Minister McEntee says is a safe place. In a statement, a spokesperson said Gardaí and Store Street are investigating an alleged assault that occurred in Dublin 1 on Saturday evening, August 17th. Investigations are ongoing. No description of the perpetrator given, which could very well help prevent there being a future victim. Woman dragged off Dublin Street and sexually assaulted while walking to work, court hears. What was it McEntee said again? Oh yeah, Dublin is safe. She was also strangled and told that she wasn't going to live. The Romanian man charged was immediately released on bail. It's okay because he's a construction worker, and she's only a victim that's currency in the name of diversity. Man arrested after being detained by passer-by over alleged sexual assault in Dublin. Shh, McEntee said Dublin was safe, remember. The media blacked out his face for some reason. Oops. One thing you can be certain of, if he had the right skin colour, let's say he was white, and he was arrested at a protest against the new plantation of Ireland, he would have been charged straight away, and his photos would have been all over the place. But he wasn't charged with anything yet, even though there's solid evidence of him exposing himself in public, which is a crime. A file has been prepared for the DPP, and when he was released he was taken into the care of the HSE and is receiving psychiatric care. Just like the random airport stabbing was a cry for help. He has mental health issues, so let's feel sorry for him. Boo-hoo-hoo. The two women he was attacking might have mental health problems from here on in. Psychological scars at the very least, but it's okay, because they're not victims. They're only currency in the name of diversity, remember. And while it's been a very busy week for sexual assaults in Ireland, it's been a very quiet week for the women's rights groups, the NGOs and the pseudo-left. Their silence is deafening.
It's true, isn't it?
Jesus.
Yeah, would you believe I was once attacked by the National Women's Council of Ireland because I made reference that these so-called women's groups, their silence over the murder of Aisling Murphy was contemptible, and I said they had blood in their hands, and it seems that I hurt their feelings because they didn't like me drawing attention to the fact that so many Irish women are being sexually assaulted by these unvetted males coming here. Like the amount of sexual assault and rape happening in Ireland, we can read on Court's report every day of the week is just frightening. I know, like it has to be. We have to bring it to the attention of the public so there can be change.
Do you know what's funny though? Do you know what's funny? Depending on the shade of your skin, the amount of pigmentation you have in your skin, it's either mental health or it's toxic masculinity. Because you know what I mean. There's violent Irish people as well. We've never denied that. But if it's an Irish native that does it, it's toxic masculinity. But if new to the parish does it, it's mental health. The gymnastics, the linguistic and mental gymnastics that the government and the Irish media do to portray certain stories in different lights, it's amazing, and I'm surprised more people don't see through it. That this is actually happening.
It's a whole thing about the victim hierarchy, and that like it also impacts on the whole issue of freedom of speech. Now, I'm very pleased to see, I don't know if you've made reference, that in the Mail on Sunday today, it would appear from what's been said that that the government no longer has either the stupidity, either the brains or the balls to put forward this anti-free speech legislation they've been proposed for the last number three years or whatever. Now, the Irish Freedom Party, we first had rallies against the anti-free speech legislation in December 2019, and now it seems that government is going to withdraw it because there's been so much uproar about it publicly, and the number of TDs and senators have spoken against it. And it's ill thought out, it's unnecessary. But one aspect of it is, Martin alluded there was this sense of hierarchy. So at the moment, under current legislation, and according to our constitution, all citizens are equal before the law. This anti-free speech legislation, which Helen McEntee formerly wanted to introduce, basically gives certain identity groups chosen by the government privileges over Irish citizens, for example. And it brings up the whole thing about the hierarchy of there's a gradation of your importance if according to the melanin content of your skin. So that's one of the aspects. There's been court cases where guys have been, and the judges have said they got lesser sentences according to their nationality or their link. Recently, there was one guy got, I think, 2 years less in jail because he spoke French. He would be, because English wasn't his first native language, and he spoke French, he got 2 years less in jail. I think it was for sexual assault or something. It's just unbelievable.
And you have to remember as well, like half of what's going on out there is not even been publicised. Like we're only seeing small snippets of what's even going on out there. That's why the public haven't a clue. Well, a lot of them haven't a clue because it's not been broadcast.
Yeah.
Well, apart from us.
Unless you see a hit. Well, this is what we try to do. We try to show whatever we have, you know what I mean? Whatever's out there for the week, you know what I mean? And as Herman said earlier, there's been two. There's the girl at the ACD concert last Saturday night, and then Monday morning, the other girl was sexually assaulted on her way to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, this has gone ridiculous. And someone just posted up there as well.
What I actually want to know
in Cork. Do you see this? The public toilets in Cork, widely known now, especially in Patrick Street, that children have to be accompanied by parents now, even as teenagers, to avoid being sexually attacked by illegal asylum seekers. I always safeguard my son over this. This is the reality of Ireland today. And it's like, it is true. Like, if you remember, it's no more than 3 months ago.
It wasn't an attack from a Ukrainian.
Yeah,
on a young teen boy. Yeah. You know. But I mean, what I want to know as well is this man that's exposing himself. I mean, is he one of the doctors or the engineers?
Engineer, I'd say. He had a look of an engineer about him now, I have to say.
Must be out in his lunch break.
Well, do you know what? That talk by Dr. Mahari at our desk there yesterday, where he brought attention. There's nothing in this 1951 Geneva Protocol that makes mention of people with war, about impacted by war, etc. But that these people who are asylum seekers, they're not refugees. They haven't been legally allowed into the country. They've entered Ireland illegally. It's against Irish law not to have identity papers. They don't have a passport. Actually, they did have a passport when they got on the plane, but they discarded it as somewhere before arriving at the customs at Dublin Airport. Now, that's 85% of all people who claimed asylum last year, for example. I think it's over 7,000 people. And why aren't all these people immediately deported?
Yeah.
Like the last time I looked, there'd been 100 prosecutions in the last quarter. There'd been an increased rate of prosecution for people who arrive in Ireland without identity. But why not the 7,000 of them who arrived last year? Why weren't they all immediately deported out of Ireland? They acted against, contrary to Irish law.
Yeah. And they can't be vetted. I mean, there's no paperwork that can't be vetted, so that's more lies. And we've no idea who they are. We've no idea what crimes they might have committed.
Patrick Boyle is asking, most definitely, he's the boss. Must be you, Herman. We are entitled to ask these questions as voters. How many candidates? We've already said this. We've 7 now, haven't we? 7, and still more.
Like,
there's still more.
We've only started doing the candidate selection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think we've 7 at the minute. I think Anthony put it up earlier on there. There's 7 at the minute, and there's still more in the pipeline, isn't there? There's still other stuff. Yeah. So there you are, Patrick. We have 7 at the moment, and we put it up earlier where they were all running. So yeah.
But we're just not sure where Paul is running. That's the only thing.
Fitzy,
nobody knows where Paul is running.
Bay North.
Dublin Bay North.
That's it.
Paul Fitzsimons, he's in it to win it, and Dublin Bay North.
Dublin Bay North. That's it. Now you have it. Yeah.
Can you read my cup?
I think you've an excellent chance there. like the Irish Freedom Party with 3 excellent candidates in Dublin with very good chance. We've yourself in a 5-seater in Dublin Bay North. You're very well known locally, Paul. We have Glenn Moore. What his constituency is?
Dublin West, is it? Dublin
Midwest.
Dublin Midwest, yeah, for Glenn Moore. He's already an elected councillor. And then we have Barry Ward there in the Ballyfermot area. So I think those candidates, Irish Freedom Party candidates, have a very good chance in those areas. And as I said, I think that Ballyfermot's a 5-seater as well. And Nationalist candidates in the local elections between the 3 candidates, got 20% between them. So even if he can get 9, 8 or 9% with transfers in that constituency, Barry has a very good chance of getting elected.
Yeah.
He's a very nice guy.
Very nice guy, extremely nice. Yeah.
Everyone that was there yesterday was nice. You know what I mean? Like as you said, we have a good group of people there. We're a good bunch. You know what I mean?
We do.
And we good crack. You missed the crack afterwards, Herman.
Well, do you know what? I would have really enjoyed the stay, enjoyed the crack. I was just sick and tired of fucking smiling, getting photographs taken for about an hour.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, okay, I've had my fill. I'm now hungry, and I've been smiling like a Cheshire cat for the last hour. Now I'm off. I actually stopped and got something to eat on the way back. After a feed, I don't know. After a feed, I always feel much better.
Yeah.
No, I was quite tired of kind of smiling for photographs for a solid hour. So I thought, okay, I've done my part. Now I'm off.
They call that you get hangry, is it? When you don't eat.
Yeah. It's funny. Once I went there with apple green on the way home. Once I got something to eat, I was absolutely fine again. Yeah, hangry.
Yeah.
Give me a feed and I'm fine.
Yeah.
The Gardaí only fingerprint them, so they say. We're led to believe them. Why in invasive DNA swab test like the C19 one? Yeah, that'll tell you who they are. Yeah, but they have to be on the database, haven't they? They have to be on a database before they can tell you who they are. You know what I mean?
Well, do you remember Helen McEntee about 6 months ago tried to pull the wool over people's eyes, trying to say, "Oh, everyone has their fingerprint taken." BBB. The thing is, sure, they don't have access to any criminal database of countries. Like, do you think they have a criminal database for like Syria, Afghanistan, Morocco? No. The Irish government doesn't have access to anything like that at all. So this idea that they take the fingerprints and they check them against some criminal database simply isn't true. What they do for the Eurodac is to see have they previously attempted to, have they put in an asylum application in another country before they come to Ireland. And as you see there that that exchange between McNamara and McEntee in the committee of the Dáil 4 months ago was that even, I think it was like 280 applications. No, the other countries had made known to Ireland that they would accept back all these people who had previously registered for asylum in other countries, i.e. Sweden, Germany, France, etc. But I think the Irish state only arranged practically four people to be sent back. So for all intents and purposes, there is no functioning deportation system in Ireland. So once they arrive here, they're allowed to stay here. It's ridiculous. It's unsafe. And it's also expensive. It's destructive of our culture, and it's also destructive of our economy. Because, for example, for the hotel industry, we're blocking them. The government is using taxpayers' money to fund a third of the beds in all hotels in Ireland. 1/3 of all hotel beds in Ireland are now taken up by welfare tourists, also known as economic migrants or stroke asylum seekers, they self-identify as, and there's no room for tourists. So the government is purposely destroying an economically productive section of the economy to hand it over at taxpayers' expense and for people who are basically economic migrants. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm getting messages.
If people would open their eyes and see what the government are doing to our country, there would be a fucking revolution in our country. There has to be come the general election time, a political revolution, people have their chance. Get out, register, make sure you vote, and tell your friends about the Irish Freedom Party too. Best looking candidates in Ireland. All right, Paul?
That's it. There you have it. I have someone here asking, what's Herman's
Only
stance?
kidding.
Definitely Martin anyway. We were planning the calendar, Herman, last night. We're going to do a calendar for IFP, and every month...
Martin would get in there. I don't know about Paul.
We have it all, Ken and I have it all planned out, so every month is going to be featuring Martin Murphy.
Oh, yeah, yes. or you know the rule about what happens in the pub stays in the
Someone's asking there, what's Herman's stance on climate change? Well, I think the whole party stance is the climate alarmism. That's what it is. It's alarmism. It's not happening. It's not happening as quick as they're saying it is in the whole lot. So I'll let you have a go there, Herman.
Well, climate change. The climate has always changed. If you go back and look at they take what is called as proxies. Let's say, like, they can go back and do ice core measurements, and they can find out the temperatures that have taken place according to the different time periods. They can also find out the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere at that time. And the thing about these data sets and graphs over like many millennia is that there's like the Earth has been much warmer and much colder than it is now, and that carbon dioxide levels have been much higher than they are now. But actually, carbon dioxide levels are at a not the lowest, but they're at a historically extremely low point at the moment. And these graphs show there's no causal relationship between carbon dioxide levels and global temperatures. But what is very clear is that what was the point I was going to say? That that at the moment carbon dioxide levels are 421 parts per million. At a level of 120 parts per million, all plant life on the planet dies. And life on Earth, as we know it, is finished. So actually 421 parts per million is a historically extremely low level for carbon dioxide. So this idea that like carbon dioxide levels are going through the roof is actually completely untrue. But bottom line is that this whole thing about carbon dioxide is baloney. Carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is good. The main problem at the moment is pollution from things like plastics, sulfur dioxide, poisonous like gases and liquids. Carbon dioxide is not a poison. Carbon dioxide is a trace element which is good for plant growth. It's necessary. We all learned in school. Carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. That's why greenhouses, the farmers actually pump carbon dioxide into greenhouses to encourage plant growth. So this whole idea that carbon dioxide is a poison is untrue, and even if carbon dioxide was a cause of global warming, the idea that you would put a tax on it, and by taxing increased levels of carbon dioxide, that you would be able to, the governments would be able to control the weather or the climate, is completely untrue. So our thing, like, it's very important, because I believe our Irish Freedom Party energy policy is excellent. Like what we want to do, we don't believe that carbon dioxide is going to poison people. We don't believe that carbon dioxide levels are going to cause like Earth to turn into a furnace, or climate alarmism, or as you have AOC in the States talking about the world's literally going to end in 12 years. This is what they've said just a few years ago. So we're opposed to carbon tax. We believe the carbon tax is unnecessary and unjust. As I said, we're opposed to carbon tax. We want to reopen the peat burning power stations in the Midlands of our country. We oppose like At the moment, at the end of this decade, 29% of all energy, electricity in Ireland will go for data centers. We believe we've got to stop giving plan permission for more data centers in Ireland. We've more than done enough. And in the short term, we should reopen, or we should start again, give out licenses for the exploration of oil and gas off Ireland. And we should, in the long term, explore both tidal power and nuclear power, look at its cost, its efficacy, its safety, because long term, Ireland needs plenty of energy, which is cheap and sustainable. And we're not going to get that off intermittent types of energy like wind turbines. And anyway, the idea of solar power in Ireland is so ridiculous, it's beyond belief.
Yeah, it is. Do you know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with the Ardèche poem from yesterday. I didn't play it yet, so I'm going to play it there now. So let's have a listen to this.
Together we will stand, unflinching in the face of darkness. Shoulder to shoulder, hearts intertwined, enfolded in an emerald embrace, revealing to the tyrants the true heartbeats of Ireland. Chucky Arla I hear, but deep within my marrow I feel that day is near. The hour has come to take back our sacred ground, to reclaim our homeland that our forefathers found. An island for the Irish, one of green, white and gold. For deep within our every fibre is a true Éire soul.
That was deadly, wasn't it? Fair play. That's a great poem. I love it. Yeah,
I love the music in the background as well. It's very good.
Yeah.
Well, the poem was by Kathy Hogan, who is a Dubliner now, living in Roscommon. It was really excellent. Very, very good.
A big shout out to all the girls as well who did that yesterday. Sorry, I was just saying a big shout out to Arlette and all for doing all the videos, and Anthony and all. It was brilliant. Well done.
Yeah, it was a really good job.
Yeah, it turned out well. I'm really happy with the photographs. I sent a photograph there to Paul. Are you able to put it up?
Which one? Hang on. Where's my phone? Go on. Which one is it?
You'll see it there now.
Hang on, Arlette.
I said earlier, this is my favourite photograph.
Orla, I'm going to kill you.
It's all right, Martin, don't worry.
What?
Don't worry, it's not you.
That's not you. You're all right. It's the two best looking guys in the place, like, you know.
There's a picture of Martin and yourself, Paul.
I'll let you see. I'll let you have a look there now yourself. I'm in it. So
I'm surprised.
There we go.
Look at that.
Happy days. Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. You know why? There's just happy faces, loads of smiles, and yeah, I was very happy with how the photograph came out.
Yeah, I was happy myself. You can see Herman is browned off. I can smile and look.
Yeah, after an hour, you think, you know what? My cheek is getting sore.
Yeah, I know. My mouse is moving there. But yeah, it was a great day. I have to say, it really was. You know, stop sharing that evening. Where's my mouse gone?
Can that poem be embedded onto the website?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah. But you know, one thing we talked about, it wasn't voted on, but I could see, like, with the crowd, it had kind of approval. No, it wasn't voted on, so it's not official party policy. But the idea that Irish taxpayers' money should be reserved for Irish citizens only, because at the moment, like, this whole inducement to mass immigration that Roderick O'Gorman has thrown around by promising anybody who arrives in Ireland, like, was open, like, own door accommodation, and the situation where non-Irish citizens, they get free welfare, free accommodation, free legal aid, and free medical care. It's just like, it's a massive financial inducement for people to come here. So I believe if we stop the financial inducement, people will stop coming in huge numbers. So I do believe, and it's not unusual, it's quite common that in various countries, the taxpayers' money of a certain country is reserved for its national citizens. I believe we have to move towards that in Ireland. And it would stop the inducement for mass immigration that is happening at the minute. And also, we also, I believe, have to look at the whole thing of either multinational companies buying up swathes of land or pockets of houses. In Ireland, we have the vulture funds. Like, some of these vulture funds have hundreds and thousands of houses, which they buy up in blocks of developers. They, for all intents and purposes, they take them off the market. They don't sell them. They only rent them at high rent to people here. And why should it be that these kind of multinational vulture funds should come in, buy houses, keep them, prevent Irish people buying them? So I think we have to look at only Irish nationals being able to buy houses and buy land. Now, I have no problem with people renting here if they're here working, have a work permit, they're here for a temporary, they have temporary residence permit, etc., etc. I think we have to move towards that system. But we've got to stop that anybody, any vulture fund or any individual can come in here and buy as much land and property as he likes. Because shouldn't it be, this is our country, Ireland,
We have
for the
here
Irish people. And,
another guy is asking there, homeless numbers. And Herman, what would be the plan? How would we? What would be the plan? He is asking for how we would get the homeless numbers down and get houses built. And
well, as I said, that whole thing about that Irish taxpayers' money be reserved for Irish citizens alone. Once you remove the financial inducement for people to come here or to stay here, I believe they will leave. Now, when there's a certain number of houses and demand decreases, it'll be much easier for Irish people to find houses to buy and apartments to rent. And that means there'll be more room for Irish homeless.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I actually, sorry, I'll just jump into that one. Just I have a concept for housing that I spoke about before, but like, we've already proven we can house huge amounts of people if you just take out the outside influence. You know what I mean? Like, the modular homes are actually a good idea in the short term. You could give, it's not social housing, but you could give a young married couple with 1 or 2 children a modular home for a period of 3 years, rent free, as in that the Irish taxpayer are going to pay for this, but give couples 3 years to save. You kit it out yourself, you put in your own furniture. Like, it's not social housing, it's literally just a break so you can save money. But the caveat would be that you have X amount to save in that 3 years, and if you choose not to, out you go, that's it. But if you have saved the amount of money, then the banks need to be forced into giving these people mortgages, because they've done they've kept up their part. And these modular units, it is possible to do. Now, there's price gouging involved because the system is corrupt at the minute. But you can build these small estates in outside towns for a much cheaper cost than what the government is paying currently. Because look, every time the government touches something, it turns into the children's hospital. You know what I mean? That's the reality of the corruption in our system. Yeah. But the modular home concept would, if you have that for 3 years, it gives you a 3-year head start then building various forms of social housing. And the other thing then is we have to tackle the planning laws. We absolutely have to tackle the planning laws, because it was discussed yesterday, but there's people who have family land that they cannot build. They cannot build a house beside their parents' house because of planning laws. And even if they get the planning permission, the amount of money that you have to hand over to local councils just to get your house built, it's extortion. And it differs from county to county, but it is nothing more than extortion. They take 25,000.
Water and electricity, get it connected.
Yeah,
huge.
it's
And you know what? It's not only that. It did come up there yesterday. Is the discrimination against Irish people? So the planning laws. If you say the word if you self-identify as a refugee or as an asylum seeker, or if you have a hotel and you say I'm taking in economic migrants, stroke asylum seekers, that planning permission laws don't apply to you. That is
ridiculous.
That's disgusting. That's terrible discrimination against Irish people.
Yeah.
So, like an Irish person, we have to jump through all these hoops. Where if you're a foreigner, they don't apply to you. That's just not on. That's discrimination. As I've spoken about before, it's also been treated as paddy last. And that's not on.
Always. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And you know what? We're not looking at we're all treated the same. Like we're Irish people in Ireland, and the Irish state should be for the benefit of Irish people. Hey, every other country in the world acts like that as well. So why can't we? This kind of cultural self-loathing from like the far left. It's corrosive, it's dangerous, and long term it's going to destroy the Irish nation. Like all we're looking for, there's 70 million Irish people of Irish heritage living all around the world. Why can't we have a country for ourselves? That this is Ireland, this is where Irish people, this is our home, and like the purpose of the state should be for that.
Yeah,
you know, like this idea that we're kind of Americans or like I don't know Indians, and there's like 250 million of us. There isn't, you know. So we're a small nation, I think we should protect our uniqueness and ensure that our children have a future. Our culture has a future. Our children have a future in Ireland, our homeland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
And
go
actually, in relation to the homeless, what you were talking about there, like look at all those little small modular homes that are built for the refugees coming in. You know, that house one or two. Like again, why couldn't that be used for our own Irish homeless to get them off the streets and give them a chance to to be able to find a job and save up and find somewhere proper to live? Like there'd be nothing wrong with those little places. So they're one or two beds. Sure, wouldn't they do homeless people as well?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
when I think back when I first got married, and it was teaching job, I remember going and looking for a loan from the bank, and like when I was doing it, teachers were extremely poorly paid, right? And I remember going in and looking for a loan to the bank, and I showed her a wage slip for the month, and the bank manager asked me, "Was this for the week?" You know. Yeah, and we were in this small flat in Dunleary, and we started off as me and the wife, and then by the time we finished, it was 3 children. Like I remember, thankfully there was a garden at the back, but we didn't have a large amount of money, and luckily, I got a permanent job as a journalist, and I was just had enough. The ability then to get a mortgage and get the smallest 2 up, 2 down house, the cheapest house we could find in Drogheda. We just barely scraped on the housing market, could afford a house. And thankfully, because of that, we could stay in Ireland and bring up our children in Ireland. Otherwise, isn't it incredible the efficiency and the speed at which the state is building all these kind of places like in Clonmel, whereas Irish homeless were left in the street for years on end and nothing was ever done. So where there's a will, there's a way. And it just seems that the priority of the Irish government is non-Irish nationals, not the Irish people. And that's got to change.
Yeah. I'm just getting one in there now. What was this fella said? Modular homes, are you for real? What about selling houses to people at realistic rate? Maybe 150 or 209,000 for a family home. That'd be great in an ideal world, you know what I mean? But like these vulture funds and everything, and have the house prices gone through the roof? Like, you know what I mean? It's 400 grand for a 2 or 3 a 3-bedroom house around here is probably 450. Like, that's gone. You could have got the same house in 2012, 2013 for probably 200 grand. You know what I mean? It's doubled. Like, you know, it's really gone
Like,
down the roof.
a lot of people don't understand as well that there's for new builds, there's so many new, and again, these are EU regulations, right? They're not Irish regulations, they're EU regulations that have come in relation to building houses, and the houses are much more expensive to build. They say they're built to a higher quality, and triple glazed windows, and the heat can't get out, and there's no air moving inside them, and but the legislation that has come in means the ability to build a house is now more expensive, or so the materials needed to build a house is more expensive. Now, they're apparently more energy efficient, and they apparently last longer, but none of us are going to be alive to see if that's actually true. If they really do last that length of time. But housing is going to be difficult, but the most important thing is to give people the opportunity to get on the housing ladder. Because if you give young people the opportunity to get on the housing ladder, you give them hope. And if you give people hope, your country will thrive. Okay, but if you deny your young people hope, then we are doomed. So like housing won't be fixed quickly, but there are ideas there, and like I said, if you can take a bad idea and the government's bad idea of housing illegals in this country and their modular home plantations, and turn that into a good idea that actually helps Irish people, then you're doing a good job. So like I said, I always look for turning a negative into a positive. So that's why I talk about the modular homes, because it can be done. It can be done cheaply, and it's a stopgap measure that'll give us a 3-year head start on building social housing, affordable housing, and like I said, time to tackle the planning laws. It's not a long-term solution. It's kind of a short to medium-term solution.
Yeah. And also what it needs to be looked at as well is, we were all out canvassing during elections, and the amount of houses that we came across that are lying vacant. And I'm not talking about ones that are 20 years old. I'm talking about ones that have been there for a few months or a few years that are not in terrible condition, and they're lying there vacant. I mean, I know there was loads of them in Carlow.
Yeah.
See, the whole thing, I actually brought it up 5 years ago, I've been saying the same thing, but in economics, all about supply and demand, trying to find an equilibrium, etc. Now, I brought up there yesterday that the Irish state is huge public debt, third highest per capita public debt in the world. It's over 230 billion. I raised the whole thing yesterday about the public pension liability that the state has, which is 646 billion euro, which the vast majority of people in the country do not even know about. Now, there are CSO figures. That's the official state figures giving us that. So we have massive public debt. At the same time, there's the restrictions on government spending, for example, on public housing or the state procuring public land. Why? Because as members of the European Union, there's a Growth and Stability Act, which restricts the amount of public debt that Ireland can take on, and there's state aid rules which prohibit the state interfering in the market excessively. So we've got restrictions from the EU of how much debt we can take on and how the state can interfere in the market. And two, we've got massive public debt. So I don't believe that the government will have the freedom or the money, or actually even the workers, because many Irish builders, they can't afford a home in Ireland, so they can't stay here to build more houses. So they're emigrating to Australia and Canada. So we don't have the money, we don't have the freedom, legal freedom to do so, and we don't have the workers. So we're not going to be able to have a massive boost in supply. So only thing, the lever we do have more control over is that of demand. We can cut demand for housing by cutting numbers of immigration. And a quick way to do that is to stop, as I said, the financial inducement for people to come here because of welfare and to remain here because of free stuff. So I believe if the will is in the government to put Irish people first, we can turn the country around. Otherwise, we're going to be in a very bad situation going forward.
Yeah, I want to just run with this because someone was talking about this earlier, and I'm just going to run with this here. Derry locals express shock and disbelief at evil murder of woman Meanwhile, the killers are still at large. Okay. I did see this today. I didn't really read much about it, but it seems it was horrific. You know what I mean? That's by all reports. Like, you know what I mean? It's horrific, yeah.
Did they know who did it?
No, still at large. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, still at large. But I think we'll pack her up there now. I tell you what, I've one more video. Have I got time? Nah. No, it's just a hate crime. This is just a hate crime thing that she's talking about.
Minister, with the new Dáil term approaching, there's obviously still major public concern about your hate speech bill. So I wanted to ask, firstly, when the legislation will be back, and secondly, if you've made any changes to address people's concerns, because just a couple of weeks back, a report by the Institute for Economic Affairs in the UK found that Labour proposals for stronger hate speech laws could make misgendering someone a crime in Britain. So are you in a position to say that that will never happen here under your bill?
So I have quite a busy legislative agenda when we return in the next 2 weeks. Bills that will be progressing at the initial stages are legislation around body-worn cameras, the Policing and Security Bill, which is integral to what we're doing here, making sure that that is passed by the end of the year. I'll be progressing the legislation on a new domestic violence agency, and also by the end of the year I hope to have enacted the hate crime legislation. I've said that I would engage further with colleagues on issues that they've raised, and I'll certainly be doing that in the weeks ahead. But I've been very clear on what we're trying to achieve here. We are introducing hate crime legislation for the first time, which does not exist in this country. We're also making sure that where people intentionally spread hate that could result in assaults or could result in, I suppose, impacts on certain members of the community, that's something that needs to be addressed. But this is not about criminalising people who insult others or who might misgender another person. This is very clearly about introducing hate crime and hate speech legislation.
So you'd be confident that nobody in Ireland will ever end up in court for misgendering somebody or something of that nature, that, as I say, we're strengthening our hate speech legislation, and that there's reports just across the water that something like that could happen there under their plan. So again, I'm asking you, how confident would you be that that'll never happen?
I think the legislation is very clear. It's a deliberate intent to spread hatred against another person, and I don't think misgendering somebody does.
What does
Okay, we've 2 minutes. We've 2 minutes. We talk about quick. We've 2 minutes. Go.
See your face. She hates it. She hates.
Oh,
it
she
so
hates
much.
Ben. Yeah, hates Ben. Yeah, but if you look at it, them hate speech, that's already in there. That's already there. So you know.
Like, there's laws against incitement to violence. So this stuff is unnecessary. It's the state having more control about, you shut up, and we're going to give stop equality of all citizens before the law. We're going to give preferences to certain groups, and it's actually disgraceful. Actually, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because free speech and the right to private property are the foundations of a free society.
Yeah.
Right, lads, what we'll do is we'll finish it on that now, because we're nearly over the time. I mean, 2 hours is nearly up. So just before we go, sorry, can you just remind us again, in case anyone has forgotten, where you're running? Fitzy, Dublin Bay North. Me. Fitzy, Dublin Bay North. That's where I am. Yeah.
And I'm running County Louth.
Herman's running Loud. Martin's Tip, and Orla is Carlo. But listen, thanks very much. I'll drop you down now just for a minute, and I'll call you back in right in a minute. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming on. Yeah, fair play. But yeah, we're at the end of the show again tonight. Fair play to everyone who contributed and anyone who's texted in. Thank you very much. And as we say every Sunday night, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. You just let it loose, and it will defend itself. Good night.